What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday special. NFL Week 10 is here. This is PlaySqorr Live. We are joined with Carson Niehoff and Derek Guzman. Derek, finally got your name right. Been calling you
Thank you.
Guzman for the past 10 weeks, I think. But NFL Week 10 is here. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Can't be better. You said my name right to start the week off, so I'm already off to a good start, huh?
I'm not gonna feel well till my Jets get a second win, and that might be a long time from now. So it's been an awful season.
I started the week off good. I got the Raiders winning on Thursday night in typical Oakland Raider nail biter. This time they actually finished on top though, so I can't complain too much. It My week 10 is going good pretty much so far. So let's kick it off right away. Let's get into our first topic. I want to talk about a player you guys think is going to have a big time week 10, put up the stats, must play in your lineup, and going to help carry his team to the win. Let's start off with Carson. Who do you got this week?
I Drew Brees this week. I think he has an ideal matchup to have a breakout game. Drew Brees, since 2015, Drew Brees has averaged 300 yards and 2.1 touchdowns passing in 8 games against the Dan Quinn-led Falcons. I think coming off the bye as well, I think it's a recipe for a huge game inside the dome. Falcons haven't stopped anybody through the air all season long, and I really think he's got a huge game today.
All right, Derek. What are you thinking about that? You agree?
I do agree. That game's going to be a shootout. The only thing I'm worried about a little bit with Breeze is if they do get up by a little bit, they could bring in Latavius Murray and try and run the clock out a little bit, which could. He has a great floor, but his ceiling may be a little capped this week.
Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
I do think the return of Alvin Kamara as well is going to help Breeze. Using him in the passing game, maybe using a little more Latavius Murray in between the tackles, but having Kamara back in the passing game, and then that could set up for downfield shots. The Falcons secondary is all jumbled. They're Desmond Trufant, he's missed the last 3 games, hasn't practiced this week. Their Pro Bowl safety, Keanu Neal, he's out for the season, with his Achilles injury. I really think the Saints probably put up 30 plus points easily here. And if they do get up big, I think it could be via the passing game.
All
All
right.
right, Derek. Who do you got this week?
Well, it was a tough choice for me this week. I love Marlon Mack. I love Singletary this week. But there was one guy that really stood out to me, and that's Davante Adams. First week back last week, he led the team in targets, 11 targets right off the bat for 7 receptions, only 41 yards, but he's never going to have a 41-yard game again. The week before he got injured, he had 15 targets for 10 catches, touchdown. This week against the Panthers, the over-under set at 48. I think it's going to go over, possibly 55, somewhere in that range. I can see Davante Adams getting another 12 to 14 targets, another 8-9 catch day, couple touchdowns. Also, Carolina is top 10 worst giving up fantasy points to wide receivers this year as well. So
Do you
Davante Adams, big game.
do you think the injury is gonna hold him back a little bit? Maybe they don't throw in
Not,
his direction as much.
not at all. He had 11 targets last week. It's only going to go up from there.
Yeah, Davante Adams. I always call guys like him. They're just high floor receivers. Every week, they're going to get the volume as long as they're on the field. Aaron Rodgers has always treated his number one receiver, always peppered him with targets, no matter who it was. Back in the Jordy Nelson days, even Randall Cobb ate off Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams is head and shoulders the number one passing target in that offense. Obviously, Jimmy Graham has slowed down as a receiving tight end. Valdez Scantlin, Geronimo Allison, all those guys not even close to the level of a Davante Adams type talent. And Aaron Rodgers, as I said just before, always peppers those number one guys with targets. I totally see a high floor game and with the potential breakout, as Derek's saying right now, for Davante Adams today.
I mean, I got him on 2 of my fantasy teams. Playoffs are coming close. I could really use Devontae Adams' big week. But, all right, there you go. Devontae Adams and Drew Brees. Big games this week. Remember, any questions you guys have, comment. We got the advice. We'll help you with the lineups. Let us know. Hit us up in the comments. Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're on all of them. We're on all of them right now. Let's go on to the next topic. This one might be a little bit of a hot topic. The Ravens, I never thought I'd say it, they got a high-powered offense right now, led by the one and only Lamar Jackson. They did the unthinkable. They took down the Patriots, leading to my main question. Do you think Lamar Jackson is elite, or will he ever be elite? Carson, kick this one off for us.
The issue with people and calling players elite is that the definition for elite seems to change every single time. Is elite winning Super Bowls? Is elite just putting up amazing stats? Like a Dan Marino, no Super Bowls, but you know what? He was a tier one quarterback in his prime. Is Eli Manning elite, as people always like to joke around here in the New York area? But he has 2 Super Bowls. Well, he beat the Patriots. Okay, but does that make him elite? When I think of elite, I think of those generational talents. I think of those top of the line guys, the Aaron Rodgers, the Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's. I don't go by if you're winning Super Bowls or not. I think it takes more than just one guy, from the quarterback to win a Super Bowl. But I do think that elite needs to be kept for those players like Aaron Rodgers and the ones I just named. When it comes to Lamar Jackson, I view him as a very good quarterback who you can win a Super Bowl with. I think he's very one-dimensional times. You take away that Miami Week 1 game. He only has a 7-5 touchdown to interception ratio since that Week 1 Miami game where he threw for 5 touchdowns against one of the worst teams we've seen in football in the last 10 years. He, for the last four games, only 3 of them he's thrown for over 200 yards. He's only surpassed 200 yards once in the last 4 games. In today's NFL, I like to view as elite quarterback as a passer. Not taking anything away from his scrambling ability. I think that makes him a threat every single time he has the ball in his hands. And like I said, you can win with somebody like that. I think the offensive scheme is kind of gimmicked towards him. And an elite quarterback, I view as somebody who you don't have to do that for. I'll always take the pocket passer like the Aaron Rodgers and the Drew Breeses and the Tom Brady's over a guy like Lamar Jackson until he can show me he can throw the ball with efficiency down the field, which he has not shown he can do that yet. I'm going to say he's a very good quarterback. I'm not going to put him in that elite territory.
Well, I mean, a couple things you said there. I mean, you called him a scrambling quarterback. He's not a scrambling quarterback. He's a running quarterback. He doesn't scramble. He runs. Okay? He's a dual threat. You're saying the landscape of elite changes with people's thoughts. Well, we need to be progressive in that thought, too. He is going to be changing the games. He changes the way defenses play. He changes the way coaches game plan to play the Ravens. He's a game changer. Just like Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees, you game plan around them. You game plan around Lamar Jackson. Now, is he elite right now? No. He doesn't have the weapons around him in order to be elite. He needs a first down guy. He needs a better underneath guy besides Snead. He does have Mark Andrews out there, which is a big help to him. But, I mean, one of the biggest things is, winning when it's cold, December, January. Lamar Jackson and his running style and that attack that the Ravens are going to have, he is just going to flourish in these situations. Come playoff time, nobody's going to want to play him. Bill Belichick couldn't stop him now. They're not going to stop him in January if they see him in the playoffs.
Yeah, but what about this?
Now,
I mean, he's taking a ton of hits. He's a running quarterback. I mean, in the offseason, they were calling him a running back. Does he make it to the playoffs? That's the thing that's going to be a major question mark with him.
I don't know. I mean, maybe this is a bad comparison because Kamara just came off an injury, but he's slippery and slidey like Kamara. He doesn't take those big hits. He's sliding and diving and twisting his body in a way that he's not getting blown up by a linebacker head on. I think he's very intelligent, and I just think his game's going to grow. Now, like I said, he's not elite right now. 2-3 years, develops his game more, gets a little more accuracy. I could see him being put in that level.
I view him as an elite playmaker. But when you talk elite quarterbacks, I don't care. You can give him the 3 best receivers in the league on that team. Is he getting the ball to them at an efficient level, game in, game out, like the other guys are doing?
His position is quarterback, though. We're not talking about playmaker.
Yeah.
His position is quarterback.
Well, I agree. And he's not an elite quarterback, in my opinion. He's a very good one. And I think he's an elite playmaker. And I think there's a difference there between an elite player, an elite quarterback, and an elite playmaker. And I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson, nor am I hating on him for being a rushing quarterback. I'm not taking that away from him. I just personally, if I'm starting my own team, I would much rather take the elite pocket passer or the elite guy that can get the ball down the field to my receivers via the arm, rather than a quarterback who can move the chains via the legs. That's just the way I view a quarterback, and I think that's what the elite quarterback should be. I do like your point though when you said we need to be progressive in how the game is changing. I do agree with that. I really do. But there's always going to be those elite pocket passers that I would much rather have over a player like Lamar Jackson.
So is it fair to say that he is an elite fantasy quarterback, but not an elite NFL quarterback?
Yeah, I think you can go along those lines because he has a high floor. Like I was talking about Davante Adams earlier. His high floor is because he's going to get you on a bad week 45 to 55 rushing yards. That's a bad week. That's almost a touchdown that you're just starting with, just because he's on the field making plays with his legs. I would just like to see him at least surpass that 200-yard threshold, on a consistent basis. In today's NFL, you have third-string quarterbacks coming in and hovering around that 200-yard passing. If he improves that part of his game, then yeah, you can call him an elite quarterback as well.
I mean, if he's an elite fantasy quarterback, let's just say that's our discussion now. Do you think he's safe enough to take, or good enough to be a first-round, possibly top 5 pick in the 2020 fantasy season?
No quarterback's ever drafted in the first round. Mahomes went in the 4th round this year, and there's 3-4 quarterbacks that have scored more points than him. Watson, Wilson, and I think I'm missing somebody, but
Fabiano took him 1 overall on ESPN.
Oh my God! Well,
you can stream quarterbacks more than you ever could in the past these days, and the NFL rules make it very easy for quarterbacks to put up numbers. He may produce. At the end of the year, you may look at his numbers and say, oh, he's a top 10 guy, points per game. But then again, a lot of quarterbacks score more than skill position players, depending on what your league settings are. If you have 6 points for a passing touchdown, a lot of those quarterbacks are going to finish above those running backs. But it's just so many quarterbacks that you can play week in and week out and get away with it. Opposed to running backs where once injuries hit, once bye weeks kick in, you're kind of fishing on the waiver wire for guys to fill in. And, that I think should take precedence over a quarterback, and I think quarterbacks have went deeper in this year's drafts than ever before. I remember we had Patrick Mahomes maybe going round 3 or 4 in one league. Usually top quarterbacks are hovering around that late 1, early 2, depending on the year. I found myself some solid starting quarterbacks late in the draft who I'm getting away with now as my starters.
Yeah, I mean, something that is good to think about. Do you think Lamar Jackson is going to go down that Michael Vick career path? Well, let's talk about the way he plays. Or the way Kaepernick did, where Kaepernick was unstoppable on the ground. No one had an answer for him, but then they sort of figure out, they say, stop this guy.
I think Lamar Jackson's a different player than both of those guys. Vick was reckless. Kaepernick has just a different style. Lamar Jackson is just more of a complete, more intelligent IQ quarterback that I think is going to be able to make the right decisions when the time comes to it. And also, he's being coached by John Harbaugh. He's doing a great job, and look what he's done already with Lamar Jackson's career. So, everybody said he couldn't throw, they couldn't be a quarterback. This year's come out and proved them wrong, and he's getting the job done.
What do you think, Carson?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I do like about Lamar Jackson is that he doesn't make many mistakes. A very erratic passer such as himself, you can fall into that category where, oh, well, he can run, but when he throws the ball, he can make mistakes. He can throw 15 interceptions. I mean, we're more than halfway through the halfway point of NFL season here. He only has 5 interceptions. That's a good thing for a quarterback, a young quarterback as well, and he's still making progress in the passing game as a passer. I think, though, when it's all said and done, I think we're going to look back at somebody who is going to be better than Colin Kaepernick. Michael Vick, I feel like Michael Vick's name value holds more, than what his career actually was. He did have some amazing years in the NFL, and I give him all the credit in the world. What?
Best video game character all time.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't stop him. Anybody with 99 speed back in the day, you couldn't stop. But I think Lamar Jackson has the potential to surpass both those guys. I think he's better than Kaepernick already. I think he will when it's all said and done, have a better career than Michael Vick. I also think he's on a much better coach team than what Michael Vick was. And I do trust Harbaugh and that system. I think they're doing a very good job right now of having Lamar Jackson flourish in that system.
And they're only gonna add more and more to his team just to make him better. So,
all right, I think we got enough Lamar Jackson. Seems like the consensus is he's good. All right, let's talk about the game of the week. We got the Seahawks against the 49ers playing in San Francisco. Jimmy G doesn't look like anything's going to stop him. The last undefeated team. What do you think is going to happen in this game? Carson, kick this one off for us.
I love this matchup for Seattle. San Francisco, hottest team in the NFL right now. Haven't lost a game. Everybody's halfway hot take is that, I think Niners can go to the Super Bowl now. I think it took about 5 or 6 weeks to prove to the world that they are capable of doing that. But what do the Niners do well? They get to the quarterback, correct? What do they do well? They run the ball on offense, and they have a very, very, very well-coached team. Shanahan knows how to put up points. He knows how to get the most out of his players on offense. You look at the Niners offense. Is there anybody there? There are no Michael Thomases. There are no Drew Breeses. There are no Christian McCaffrey's on there. There are no Saquon Barkley's on that team. It's a lot of players that, based off fantasy drafts this year as well, no one was really drafting Niners that high, right? Other than George Kittle. Yeah, George Kittle. Other than that, Tevin Coleman, no one knew to expect that. Matt Breida in that backfield. The receivers, they were all jumbled coming into the year, and they still don't have a alpha wide receiver. Kittle's kind of that guy for them. But what the Niners do well, I think the Seahawks counter that. They have a quarterback that can elude the pass rush. Russell Wilson. I think he's the best pocket passer that is you can consider as a guy who can move with his legs. I know Patrick Mahomes is in that category as well with his legs.
elite.
Yeah, no, I think Russell Wilson is elite. I really do. And he doesn't take any hits, Russell Wilson. He's very smart when he's out of the pocket. And also, too, I think it's where we see Jadeveon Clowney, that signing, show up. He's going to be a big cog for that D-line this game, stopping that run. And I think the Seahawks match up very well with the San Fran.
Yeah, I'm on Carson's side on this one for once. George Kittle's doubtful tonight. That's their Monday. That's their number one target. That's going to be a big to their offense.
Huge.
One of the main things has been the 49ers defense, and they brought in some D linemen. They brought in linebacker Quan Alexander. He was the captain of their defense. He just got placed on the IR this week. Quan Alexander is the captain of that defense. They're going to be struggling. Fred Warner is not good in pass protection. I can see Russell Wilson scrambling, getting some pass routes underneath. But ultimately, Quan Alexander is a big hit to me. And I think the Seattle's going to win pretty convincingly, honestly, in San Francisco. It's not really a road game for Russell Wilson. Played in the Pac-10. He's been on that side. Also, last week, 49ers had a little trouble with Kyler Murray, scrambling quarterback. They only won by 3 points last week. And granted, Arizona scored some points late, but that's also when Quan Alexander went out of the game. And the Cardinals started creeping back in. Russell Wilson obviously is way better than Kyler Murray. I think the Seahawks end up on top.
Carson, who's your pick for the win?
I think Seattle wins outright.
Okay. Well, this is going to be a great game. I would like to see the 49ers get the win. I really want to see Jimmy Garoppolo be that man that just, carries the 49ers all the way. Really make the Patriots regret that decision of letting them go. All right, let's go on to the next topic. We are talking PlaySqorr picks. Everyone out there, download the PlaySqorr app. Use promo code PlaySqorrTV. You'll get $5. Let's talk about some matchups in there. The first matchup I want to talk about, it's one that could go either way. It's Christian McCafferty over under 21.25 PlaySqorr points. These points are not PPR, and it's standard fantasy scoring. Derek, why don't you kick this one off? What are you taking on this one?
This one's super easy for me. McCaffrey's going over 21.25. Packers are seventh in running back points allowed to fantasy. McCaffrey has not scored less than 25.5 in only 2 games. So that means he's got 7 games of 25.5 or more. The Packers, as we know, are susceptible to the run. McCaffrey is going to eat them up.
Carson, what are you thinking?
MVP.
I'm definitely in the minority on this. The whole world's definitely probably going to agree with Derek and say, yeah, he's going to go over. I mean, you look at the optics. The Packers' defensive line, it ranks dead last, I believe, in adjusted line yards inside the bottom 10 and almost every other advanced metric that analyzes run defense. This is a cake matchup for McCaffrey. Green Bay has allowed 4.7 yards per carry, which is 25th in the NFL. Every single thing is telling you take McCaffrey. Because of that, I think sometimes things are a little inflated when you have a matchup like that. I'm going to say Packers sell out to the run defense, sell out to McCaffrey today. I think they neutralize him. How much they neutralize him, I don't know. But I think he's going to go under to reach 21 points. That's still a lot. I know he's done it week in, week out. And I may very well be wrong here, but I am going to go against it. I think he's due for 1 week where he's not going to be able to reach those amazing stats that we see week in and week out. Also, too, if Green Bay gets out to a lead early, right? If he gets to a lead early, I think this has blowout potential in Green Bay.
I don't know.
They're going to have to go downfield more.
You're saying McCaffrey's not going to get 100 yards and 2 TDs this week? You're out of your mind.
Well, I think no matter what player, it's always tough to say he's going to score twice this week. I don't care if he's done it over 50% of the time already coming into this game. It's still tough to always say a player is going to score 2 times each and every week. That's still tough to do.
Not when you're talking about the MVP.
Who, Russell Wilson?
If McCaffrey gets the MVP over Russell Wilson, I mean, that will just be wild. I mean, I would love to see it. I think he deserves it. But I mean, Wilson, he's been putting up. I don't think he can at this point at least.
Well, at least McCaffrey's at least my fantasy MVP for me because I have him on 2 leagues and he's crushing. So,
all right. So Derek, Christian McCaffrey, the over of 21.25. Carson is taking the under. Remember, head to the PlaySqorr app, make your pick. We got him on a couple cards this week, and use that promo code. Let's go on to the next one. Derrick Henry, over under 11.25 PlaySqorr points. This one, again, it's still standard scoring. PPR doesn't play as much of a factor in this one because obviously he's not as much of a threat outside the backfield as Christian McCaffrey as a receiver. What are you guys taking? Carson, kick this one off for us.
This one's simple for me. The Titans are going to try to run the ball. They want to keep Patrick Mahomes and offense off the field. They want to slow this pace down. And the Chiefs' run defense, okay, they're giving up the most points, okay, to fantasy running back share. They're also giving 4.7 yards per carry. We saw last season, Derrick Henry, as the season goes on, he gets better. He killed it the second half of last season. I really think he's going to get a lot of volume today. I think it's definitely a prime spot for Henry to get a lot of volume because they want to keep Mahomes off the field. Obviously, you don't want Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball 30 times for you. So I think it's simple. I think based off volume and the potential of the Titans getting inside that 5-yard line, it's going to go to Henry. Not once, not twice. I think they're going to give it to him 3 times to barrel his way in. I think he's going to end with about 80 yards in the score today.
Yeah, Carson makes some good points there. I think the one thing with Henry this week is that he's very touchdown dependent. The game flow, it could get out of hand real quick. I mean, if you're saying the Titans might try and control the clock, if they're down 14-0 in the first quarter because they don't have Jarrell Casey, they don't have Keith Byard back there, I mean, I could just see the Titans just relying on Tannehill to throw it 30 times. Also, with Delaney Walker being out, Jonnu Smith was targeted 3 times within the 5-yard line on pass plays from Tannehill past 2 weeks. So it wasn't all Henry all day once they get inside that 10-yard line. So for me, I don't see Henry getting over 100 total yards, and that's what he's going to need to hit that 11.25. And he's only has 13 receptions on the year. So, I mean, his receiving yards is null and void. I got Henry on the under.
He's very touchdown dependent. I'm hoping for the over this week. I also got him on a couple of my fantasy teams, but Carson taking the over, Derek taking the under. Let's move on to our next one. It is Drew Brees at minus 0.75 versus Mr. Discount Double Check, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
What do you guys
well,
think on this one?
I'm loving Rodgers this week. I mean, Breeze, it's a great matchup between both of them. They're both going to be scoring a lot of points this week. Carson stated before he thinks the Packers could have a blowout. I think it might be the highest scoring game of the week. Last two times these teams have matched up, they've scored 55 total points and 66 total points. I could just see this matchup being an aerial assault, back and forth. It's the game of the week, prime time this week. Aaron Rodgers has got his boy Davante Adams back, who I spoke about having a breakout. I have to go with Aaron Rodgers over Drew Brees this week, especially because of game script too. I think if Saints get up on the Falcons, they're going to bring in Latavius Murray, save Kamara, and just run the ball and get that clock down and get the victory and get out of there. Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to take Drew Brees here. You know how games get inside that dome down in New Orleans. A lot of times it could be a shootout. You have Matt Ryan. You have that Falcons offense that's still explosive. You have Drew Brees in that New Orleans offense that's still explosive. I think that game is going to be a shootout. Drew Brees attacking that Falcons secondary that hasn't stopped anybody this year. If you're a fantasy owner of Drew Brees, you have to be drooling at that matchup. He is going to move the ball. They're coming off a bye week. You have extra time to prepare. I'm really expecting Drew Brees to have a flawless game. I'm expecting that game to be over-under sitting somewhere in the 60s. I like the over for the game as well, which means I'm definitely going to like the quarterbacks in the game. Dome game, Brees going against a jumbled Atlanta secondary, as I mentioned earlier. You couldn't ask for a better matchup. Kamara is back, which is better for Drew Brees because those checkdowns to Kamara, that's another 8-9 yards per catch. I'm taking Drew Brees over Aaron Rodgers today.
All right, Carson is taking Drew Brees at minus 0.75. Derek is taking Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this is my favorite matchup of the week. I think he can go either way. Personally, I'm hoping Drew Brees does a little better just because I happen to like the Saints a little bit more than the Packers. But, I mean, guys, I can see it going either way. The records are being kept at this point, so we'll see next week who does a little bit better. All the viewers out there, hit us up in the comments. Again, any questions you got. It's week 10. Playoffs are coming. Experts are going to give you some advice. So comment what you're thinking. We have one comment right now that just came in from the Caffey. Would LSU beat the Dolphins? I mean, come on. That's just like it comes up.
I don't know.
Would
LSU beat the Jets because the Dolphins did?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, the Dolphins aren't even the worst team in the league right now.
I know.
Like, they got Fitzmagic out there, the bearded wonder.
You could take let me speak on this. You could take the best college team that's played in the last 20 years and put them against the worst NFL team that we've seen in the last 20 years, and that NFL team is going to be favored by multiple touchdowns every single time.
I mean,
every time.
I'm convinced
it wouldn't even be close. It would be a blowout.
You can pretty much take. I mean, maybe this is a better question. Would you be able to take the first round of rookies, the first round of the draft, create a team from them, put them against the worst team in the NFL? What happens?
They will get blown out.
There's so many people that get flushed out. There's no way.
They would get blown out. Yeah,
what Dwayne Haskins is your starting quarterback. Like you can't think about stuff like that. There's no way.
I honestly think that spread would be in the 20s. I think honestly, I really think that spread would sit in the 20s.
I mean, I think it could be higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I might be undershooting it by saying that, but yeah, no college team, sport, man.
You'd be changing the channel by halftime.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, it's not. It would be exciting to see. It would be an exciting one to see. But think about it. I mean, how many guys on, let's say, LSU, the number one right now, we're lucky if, 3 of them make it to NFL, one of them becomes a superstar. There's no shot. All right, let's move on to our final topic. Records are being kept. Just want to remind you guys so everyone out there is going to see how you guys are doing. Game picks. Let's start it off with, for us, the hometown game, the game with no home team. Maybe some paint in the end zone making a home team right now. Giants at Jets. I mean, this is, what are they calling this? The toilet bowl?
What a miserable game to talk about. But for all intents and purposes, as much as I hate to say it, because personally I'm just not a fan of the Jets.
You're a hater.
I am picking the Jets this week.
Wow.
They have more weapons. They have more weapons this week than the Giants. Giants are missing Ingram. Shepard's gone. The Jets matchups against Baker on the Giants. Robbie Anderson's going to exploit them. His player prop is really high this week. I think his over-under is like 60 yards. His touchdown prop is good this week as well. Le'Veon Bell, sure not if he's playing yet. I haven't had any word on that. He's playing?
Yeah.
I mean, that just more solidifies it for me. I think Jamal Adams is going to be a ball hawk out there. All they have is Golden Tate underneath. I don't think they have anything else. Slayton's whatever.
I mean, there's one guy you haven't even mentioned, Saquon Barkley. And Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones, I'm sorry, Carson, I know you're a Jet fan. I think Daniel Jones will be in the league much, much longer than Sam Darnold, and I think he is hands down a much better quarterback.
No, Darnold will be the better quarterback. Go ahead, Carl.
Back when I was looking at these team schedules, and I saw Jets Giants, I was like, wow, two teams that could potentially be fighting for their playoff hopes at this time. And God, man, the storyline changed on that. Unbelievable, man. We suck. Both teams suck. And it's so hard for me to admit that too, but we suck. I am going to take the Jets today, though, in the toilet bowl. I think that coming off that awful loss at Miami last week, which is embarrassing to even mention right now, I think they get a nice matchup for Sam Darnold to actually do something through the air. Giants haven't stopped anybody this year.
Either of the Jets, but
yeah, no, but the
Jets,
I
picked the Jets. So
I'll say, yeah. I mean, I'm taking the Jets defense over the Giants because the Jets have a guy named Jamal Adams out there. We do have some potential on the D line. Giants, man, they're getting killed through the air. I think we're
Leonard
see
Williams,
nice...
though. Well, Leonard Williams could be giving them some info about the Jets. You never know.
This is the ultimate revenge game for a guy like him, but still, he's not going to move the needle for anything in terms of odds for a team to win the game. They have Saquon. I think we still have Le'Veon. I'm going to take the Jets to win today.
Le'Veon has no offensive line. Not that the Giants have one much better, but I mean, Le'Veon has. I don't know. He's been a disappointment in my eyes this whole season.
It's two teams looking at themselves in the mirror pretty much today. That's really what it is.
It's almost like we're picking kickers, like who's going to do better.
Yeah, you flip the coin, yeah.
Okay, so we're both taking Jets?
I guess, man, yeah. Oh.
I'm going the opposite way. I'm taking the Giants in this one. I honestly think the Giants blow them out. I don't even think it's going to be a game.
Blow them out?
What? Yeah, I think it's going to be such a bad game. It's a bold prediction. Such a bad game. CBS actually changes it and turns on to one of the out-of-state games. Which
what? Turn on for some Raider highlights for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn on the XFL. What's the XFL team for New York going to be? Whatever it is, they're turning to the highlights for that. Turn on the commercial. Okay, let's go on to the next game. Chiefs at Titans. This one, Patrick Mahomes coming back. Titans being led by Ryan Tannehill a little bit. I think they got some new life down there. What are you guys thinking?
No, you can start.
All right. Well, I mean, everybody's going to be on the bandwagon of Pat Mahomes coming back, thinking they're going to put up 80 points and just blow out the Titans. I don't think it's as easy as that. Mahomes, the past 2 weeks before he went out, was already a little hurt. He wasn't himself. He wasn't putting up the numbers that everybody's accustomed to. The Titans are on fire right now. Tannehill has been leading them. I feel like this could turn into a little bit of a shootout. As much as nobody thinks that Tennessee has that capability, when push comes to shove, I could see it happening. I also think that I have a weird way of thinking when backup quarterbacks come in. I try and think about who was he practicing with all year long. So now that he's a starter, who's he going to be thrown to? Adam Humphries is going to be a difference maker in this game. He's going to be underneath.
And no Corey Davis as well, probably.
Exactly. No Corey Davis. Corey Davis is out.
Yeah, he's out.
And everybody's focusing on A.J. Brown. I think Adam Humphries is going to be a key factor for them this week. And watch out for him in fantasy too. I think the Titans might pull this out and put the Chiefs on notice, and then we'll see it all over SportsCenter next week about how the Chiefs are starting to fall.
Wow, that's a bold one. That's a bold pick right there. Carson, what do you think about that?
I'm going to take the better team. I'm going to take Kansas City. I'll tell you one thing though. I wouldn't take Kansas City in a survivor pool though. Is Patrick Mahomes healthy? How healthy is he? I think I'll say this. I think the Chiefs are overvalued this week in this game, but I still think that offense is so potent. I can't trust Ryan Tannehill versus Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Both teams can run the ball. I'm just going to take the better quarterback. I'm going to take the better coach team. Andy Reid always manufactures way to pull it out, at least offensively, and at least, not in the playoffs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win today. I think we see like the explosive offense with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. I do agree with Derek. I think it is a sneaky game for a shootout. So I do like the over here as well, which means that both teams are going to score points. But if it's going to turn into a shootout, you have to go with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and that Andy Reid offense.
Well, the way I look at it, I'm also taking the Chiefs. Just look at the weapons they have. I mean, who do they got on Tennessee? They got, Corey Davis isn't playing. Yeah, Deion Lewis. Derrick Henry, like we said earlier, touchdown dependent. He's their offensive weapon. Ryan Tannehill under center. I would love to see it happen. Just as the inner Oakland Raider fan is coming out, I love seeing a good old Kansas City loss. But this week, I think the Chiefs win it, and they win it easy. Patrick Mahomes, he's not back, but his arm has never went anywhere. He's gonna light him up. He's not gonna be very mobile in the pocket. I think he's gonna take a couple sacks, but it's gonna be a high-scoring game.
Bold prediction: 6 catches for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns to Adam Humphries.
Ooh. Hot take.
Yeah,
if the Chiefs come out, if the first quarter is going to be important. If the Chiefs come out running the ball a lot, that's masking that Mahomes is not fully healthy, and I think that would be a good sign for Tennessee.
Who gets most of the carries? You think it stays LaShawn McCoy, or does Damian Williams? What do you have? A 91-yard touchdown?
Yeah.
After last week, I think it's going to be a split. Andy Reid does have that marriage to LaShawn McCoy, so he's always going to be involved, from their days in Philly. But I think after last week, you have to give Damian Williams the love there. But I think it's going to be a split.
All right, so Carson taking the Chiefs, Derek taking the major underdog, but as they say, maybe not even a major underdog, the Tennessee Titans. All right, we'll see next week what happens. All right, this one was shaping up to be a good game, but I thought it was going to be a good game, but now Matt Stafford is going to be out. Lions at Bears. This one may not be better than the Giants at Jets. Might be toilet bowl number 2. What are you guys thinking?
This is the perfect game that the Bears needed, the perfect storyline they needed to cure all their woes right now. Lions have no run game now. Ty Johnson, McKissick, no one's there really moving the needle in terms of making that run game better than what it was when Kerryon Johnson was healthy. No Matthew Stafford, who to me is like one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL each and every year. And what he's done this year, he's having a career year this year. No Matthew Stafford now. Jeff Driscoll's going to come in the game at Chicago, with Khalil Mack staring at him from 15 feet away every single down. Nah, man. This is the Chicago Bears, and I think the Bears win convincingly. And I think this is definitely a game that they need in order to get back on the right track, because they have looked ugly on offense. I don't know what Matt Nagy's doing. I don't know what Mitchell Trubisky's doing. I don't even think Trubisky's good, but I think he's good enough to get an easy victory at home today against that Detroit Lions defense, who really don't bring much pressure as it is from their defensive line.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm not going to go into crazy analytics on this matchup. All I can say is the Bears are going to eat them up at home. David Montgomery is going to get 25 touches and crush that clock and just send Detroit home with their tail between their legs because Bears are going to crush them this week.
I actually like this as a survivor pick as well. If you haven't used Chicago yet, this is the perfect time to use them because they're not that good, but this is the perfect time to use them.
I mean, I'm going to go against you guys on this one. This is actually my upset of the week. I don't care that Matt Stafford's out. I mean, Mr.
You're going to care when it's 17-3 at half.
Mr. Trubisky, I don't think he could score 17 points. I mean, they're going to put 8 in the box every single play. Make Mitch Trubisky throw. What do they say? He can't throw to the left side of the field. If he completes 3 passes to the left side of the field today, I'll be thoroughly impressed.
Chicago's defense will score 14 points and help them beat Detroit. I don't think it has to do with the quarterback this week. It's all about
the only way the Bears win is if their defense scores. And I think it's the only way the Lions win as well. I think the Lions could easily. I think this will be the highest defensive scoring game of the season. I would not be surprised if we see over 21 points scored strictly from defensive plays.
Or just the kickers alone.
Yeah, that too. All right, so pretty much Carson and Derek both taking the Bears. I'm taking the Lions on this one. That's going to be an interesting one. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I pick the upset of the week. All right, on to our final game. Vikings at Cowboys.
Oh.
Derek, the Vikings fan. This is a big game. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, it's very heavily stated that I am a Vikings fan. We're going into prime time tonight in Dallas, and I don't like our chances. Kirk Cousins is 4-12 at night games. He's always not stepped up to the plate in big games like this. Rhodes is not the lockdown corner that we really think he is. He's still a very good corner, but he's not a lockdown corner to shut down Amari Cooper. No Thielen. I just think that the Cowboys are a little bit better right now. More of a well-rounded team in terms of their passing game, especially with the Vikings missing Thielen. I'm going to be picking the Cowboys tonight as much as it hates. I'm rooting Vikings, but ultimately, professionally,
I was anticipating the pride pick.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to stick your chest out and take your boys.
Listen, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be rooting for it. I'm going to be, sipping some margaritas, yelling at the TV. But, ultimately, I got to go with what I think's right, and I think the Cowboys are going to pull this out.
I think the Adam Thielen loss for Minnesota is so crucial because I actually think I like Kirk Cousins more than probably what most people give him credit for. As a Jet fan, I'm glad we didn't sign him to that mega contract that we were thinking about doing. But I think he's a much better quarterback than what people give him credit for. I do agree with Derek. Those big games, he always falters on the big stage. But when you're missing a guy like Adam Thielen, he's a chain mover. When a play breaks down, who's getting open for Cousins is always Adam Thielen. He's such a security blanket for that offense. If Dallas sells out against the run today, who's going to step up in that secondary? Obviously, you have Stephon Diggs. Their tight end situation right now is kind of a by committee with Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph. But I just think missing Thielen's so big for that offense. And I actually like Dallas, and people are probably going to call me crazy, especially in the New York market here. But I like Dallas as a potential Super Bowl representative from the NFC. I really do. They have their ups and downs each and every year, and each and every year they always blow it. But I love that offense. I think Dak Prescott is a quarterback you can win with. I think they win tonight. I think they come out and play another great game. At home, prime time, just like they did a couple weeks ago when Philly came to them. I think the Cowboys win. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I do think they come out with the victory tonight.
It's also, the Cowboys linebackers are great. Jalen Smith, Lee, if Van Der Esch plays tonight, tight ends aren't even in the realm of any fantasy relevance for anybody. Somebody will spy Dalvin Cook. And then you really just have to worry about Stephon Diggs to shut them down. I just see the Cowboys winning tonight.
Okay. Cowboys from everyone. I'm taking the Cowboys as well.
Prove me wrong, Kirk Cousins. Prove me wrong. I'm agnostic until I'm proven otherwise.
Once Thielen gets back, I think the Vikings, they can make a run. I'm a little surprised to hear, though, you think the Cowboys could be a Super Bowl team. Their offense,
I do.
If you think about the players they got, Zeke, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott is the worst of that trio, in my opinion. But if he starts getting hot, I mean, maybe they can carry him. I don't think they ever get past Green Bay and Rodgers, but
When the light shines bright, the stars come out, and the Cowboys have a big star on their helmet. They're a good team.
ooh, take that one to the book. All right, last chance. Any viewers out there, send us in some questions. We got It's Your Boy Ali right now asking about Matt Ryan versus the Saints. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but pretty much, I mean, isn't Matt Ryan out?
No, Matt Ryan is playing this
He's
week.
playing this week?
Yeah, he's in.
He is playing this week. I just don't think he's had enough practice time with his third wide receiver with Sanu getting traded. He's going to be peppering Julio and Ridley all day with targets, but I could see the intermediate game being a little bit of a struggle for him. As well as, I mean, how many interceptions does he have? 13, 14 interceptions? I don't know the number off the top of my head, but he is not doing very well. He's doing well because he's losing a lot and having to throw a lot, so he will gain you some yards. But in terms of touchdowns, I don't think it's there for him this week.
I love that game as a shootout. You know, we've seen it plenty of times before, that shootout in that dome. The Falcons, they do have an explosive offense still. I actually like this game for Matt Ryan. I think it could be a game where the Falcons are trailing by a couple touchdowns, and he's going to have to throw. Their run game with Devontae Freeman, he's not really a full-time in-between the tackles back. I think they're going to have to rely on Matt Ryan's arm down the field. I actually like this game for Calvin Ridley as well today. Marshawn Lattimore, if he's shadowing Julio Jones, I think a lot of targets could be going Ridley's way. I think Matt Ryan is a much better quarterback than what people give him credit for. And I really think this game has shootout potential. And whenever a game has shootout potential, you have to like both quarterbacks in it.
I mean, Derek, you're shaking your head over there. What, you think Matt Ryan's not the guy?
No, I just think Sanu is a bigger part to that offense than people realize, and it was kind of Matt Ryan's safety blanket.
Yeah, he was a good chain mover, yeah.
Calvin really does get a little locked up in coverage sometimes and can't get the separation. That was his MO coming out of college as well. But I just see them trying to Julio getting matched up with Lattimore, really not getting too much separation. Where else is Matt Ryan going to go? I just don't see it as being as a good game for Matt Ryan. I could see the game being 31-13 in terms of Saints over the Falcons this week.
In Matt Ryan's last 3 road games, okay, he has thrown 10 total touchdowns, and he's thrown for over 300 yards each game.
Ooh, that's spicy.
So and now you're putting him in a dome in a potential shootout. I like Matt Ryan today. I do.
Ooh.
Okay, you heard it here. Remember, PlaySqorr, head to the App Store, download it. We got some great matchups on there this week. Use the promo code PlaySqorrTV. That is it for PlaySqorr Live. Carson, Derek, thanks for joining us. You guys want to hit the viewers with any last minute one-liner? Give us a prediction for the week. Anything like that?
I already gave you my bold prediction. Adam Humphries. I think he's going to have a big week. And also, Marlon Mack was right there with Davante Adams on my breakout player of the week. I think Marlon Mack is going to stuff it down the Dolphins' throat and have 2 touchdowns today as well.
All right, Carson, what's your closing comment right now?
I think the Miami Dolphins, as 11-point underdogs, go into Indy, and I think they win their second game of the season. You have Brian Hoyer starting for Indianapolis. Ugly. I think the Miami Dolphins come in, they win 2 straight today.
Okay.
Major underdogs.
All right, you heard it here, guys. Thank you for watching. This was PlaySqorr Live, the Sunday special. We'll be back next week at 11 a.m. Enjoy your Week 10 football. Talk to you guys later.
Go Jets, baby.
Thanks, Shane.